Chapter 6 The Difference. Tyler's eyes widened in shock as Leah held his hand and drank his blood. Tyler looked at her blushing cheeks, eyes, glowing red, and her seductive, red lips. Time slowed down as Leah let go of his hand, his blood on her lips. He was then mesmerized when she stared at him with her red glowing eyes as they narrowed, her face screamed suspicion. As she wrapped his hand with a white handkerchief. "I'll take the reins, you might feel a little bit dizzy later," she said as she mounted in front of him, nudged the horse as it started moving. A little while later, the awkward silence became deafening. Leah broke the ice as she asked. "How exactly were you planning to make a medicine with that snake? Last I checked, your mother is only a cook, and your father is the sheriff. Unless you were planning to give it to the town's doctor. We don't have a doctor here." The last one, who held such a position, was Aria's mother. "What do you do, when someone gets sick?" "We just turn to the local apothecary." "Right, it's a miracle you survived this long," Leah said sarcastically as she rolled her eyes. "Why aren't you scared of me? You could have run straight to town after I let go of your hand earlier. Tell everyone that I'm a scary monster." Tyler smiled and said, "You're not scary, I mean, scary yes, but monster no." "What are you?" "Sorry? Humans don't protect monsters unless they are a monster themselves," Leah said in a monotone voice. "What do you think I am?" Tyler asked with a smile. Leah tilted her head sideways before saying, "Let's see, you can control birds, and you have a knowledge of medicine and potions. I'd say you're a warlock. Actually, we prefer to call ourselves mages, but good guess. I thought vampires couldn't go out in the sun?" Tyler smiled as now it was his turn to ask the questions. "Yes and no. Pure vampires can be out in the sunlight and eat human food. It just doesn't make us full. And they don't burn in the sun, well, some of them do, but most of them turn to stone." "They? Vamps, they are humans who failed to turn into full vampires. We made them to strengthen our numbers against the humans, but their transformation was deemed incomplete. While others call it a complete failure. Others hypothesize that we should put more importance on the selection process." "Selection process?" "Yes, during the early stages there were a lot of incident where the people we turned on us. So we had to get rid of them. You let them out in the sun. Of course, however there is one that we're still hunting to this day. Such a shame. The elders had such high hopes for him. He turned into a full vampire too." "What did he do?" "He became big-headed. Said that he was going to start his own coven." "What's wrong with that?" "Nothing, it's just unheard of. Covens are led by pure bloods, like my family." "Pure bloods?" "Vampires who were born from vampire parents." "So you're a pure blood, what about your parents?" "Also pure bloods." "What about the others?" "Oh, 12 of our maids are vamps, and only one of them is a vampire." "Ah, that's why they're always inside when I came over. Why don't you just let them work at night?" "Some of them do, but it will be noticeable if they only start working during the night, so some of them have to take a day shift. They are not entirely mindless, although some are. They are the ones you see burned in the daylight." "What do you think is the cause of various outcomes?" "No one knows for sure. The last time we tried such an extensive study, we got exposed. And the price was extremely high." "What happened?" "Humans attacked us and burned our settlement. We lost a lot of vampires during the siege." "Didn't you try to fight back?" "We did, but we were outnumbered. We may have eternal lifespan, but we're not entirely immortal. If someone really wanted to kill us, they can." "So has anyone tried another experiment?" "Yes, of course, but we're only allowed to do it one test subject at a time to prevent any mishap from happening. And the test subject will be highly scrutinized before they are ever turned." "How do you find people to turn into vampires?" "We mostly stay clear of adult humans. The ones we favor are children, mainly orphans. That way, they still have a chance to learn our customs and their beliefs aren't fixed yet. You're turning Arya into a vampire, Tyler said in shock. Of course she fits the criteria. She's a child, orphan, no family. She will live a better life with us rather than be labeled as a witch her entire life, only to then be burned at the stake. You can't do that. She should be the one to decide that. Of course she will. I told you already, she will be scrutinized first. Besides, we don't turn human children into vampires. Why don't you just breed yourselves? If you like this story so far, like, comment, and subscribe so we can reach 1,000 subscribers. And if this video gets enough views and subscribers, it will give me motivation to write season 2. Because there's not much of us left. We don't go around having countless wives just to have children. How many of you are there left? Depends on which one you're referring to. Vamps or vampires? Vampires. Leah closed her eyes in deep thought. In Europe there are only 2 recognized covens, the Haven and Vaughn. What about the vamp? Countless, they roam the sewers of big cities like rats. Why do you think they say, we burn in the sunlight? You are asking too many questions, Leah said in irritation. They then rode deeper into the woods where old ruins stood. Leah was shocked to see all the burned houses. Tears started forming in her eyes as she was reminded of the day their village burned to the ground. Is this? Yes, this is the old gypsy settlement. Despicable, and they say we're monsters, Leah said as she wiped the tear from her eyes. Tyler noticed that and held her hand. We should go back now. Leon nodded in agreement. Noticing that change in her mood, Tyler remained silent until they were passing by the waterfall. Tyler asked sarcastically. So am I going to turn into a vampire? You don't turn into a vampire just because you are bitten by one. If that were the case, we would have dominated the world at this point. And I thought I said no more questions. I was just wondering, my lady. Tyler smiled. You want to be turned into a vampire? Not sure. Leah sighed and said. You might want to rethink that. As I said, you're more likely to end up as a vamp rather than a full vampire. Trust me, you don't want that. You'll be seen as nothing more than a dog to actual vampires. Disregarded and left to burn or return to stone in the sun, after they no longer find you useful. Do you think of your mates like that? They know when to be careful, Leah said, very reluctantly. When Leah and Tyler returned to the village as the sun was about to go down, only to find everyone was gathered in the town's entrance with Emma and Edward at the center. Good grief, what are you doing now, Emma? Leah asked them irritably. She hadn't known Emma for too long, but she knew well enough that this gathering was done to incite a riot. You've did this, didn't you? Emma said as she launched at Leah, who was still on the horse along with Tyler. All right, what's going on? Tyler said as he turned to the priest. Tyler and my lady, it appears that the mayor has gone missing. Since when? Leah asked. Our father didn't come home last night, Edward yelled. And you're only bringing up this now? Leah asked rhetorically in an irritated manner. Weren't you aware that a wolf has been wandering in the area? And you're just telling us this now, when the sun is about to set for the day. Never mind that you know it takes 48 hours to declare someone is missing. Perhaps the mayor just left town in an urgent business? Who last saw the mayor? Leah yelled at the crowd as she got off the horse. Mr. Cook raised his hand and said. I last saw him at the tavern. When? Around supper time, my lady. He left after dinner. Anyone else want to confirm Mr. Cook's testimony? I can attest to that, my lady. I was at the tavern with these lads, and we all saw the mayor last night at dinner, right? They then nodded in agreement. Leah sighed as she glanced at the horizon, where the sun was setting. What is everyone doing at the town entrance? The sheriff said as he arrived with Mr. Haven right beside him. Father, it appears that the mayor has gone missing, Tyler said as he nudged the horse towards the sheriff. And these two knuckleheads only decided to inform us now that the sun's down. Leah said with an irritated expression and her arms crossed. And here I was feeling good about the gain we caught. Mr. Haven said with a sorrowful expression. A deer hang on the back of his horse. No wolf, someone in the crowd said. Unfortunately not. The sheriff said irritably. We will hold a gathering in the morning, but for now everyone should rest. Leah, come. Mr. Haven said in an authoritative voice. Leah glanced at Tyler, and he got off the horse and helped her mount it. She looked at him with a worried expression, and he responded by giving her a look of reassurance. But we have to look for father. Edward said impatiently. Son, it's late and it's already dark. We will look for your father in the morning. Mr. Haven said as he gestured to his daughter as they head to the castle. Edward stared at the sheriff and he said to him. We will start looking in the morning. Everyone go home, there's nothing you can do for tonight. He said as he left with Tyler and the priest when the crowd began to disperse. Later that night at the castle, Mr. Haven drank his cup of animal's blood. Until one of the maids came in. Master, it seems that the boy Edward has gathered some people to go find his father. What right now? Leah asked. The maid nodded. Like this story, comment, and subscribe to be notified when the next chapter comes out.